Okay, hi everyone. It is 11 o'clock. I will allow people to come in as they show up. Um, it is September 12th. This is our second meeting with a professional invited to talk to us. Thank you very much for your willingness to collaborate with us, Cody. He is actually a former graduate of the PAPA program at SIUE, and then he will tell us more about himself. But briefly, from his bio that I already shared with you, and we will keep this in the recording. Cody Morrison is a dynamic leader and legal professional with extensive experience in law, public administration, and government affairs. Currently, he serves as the director of the Academy for Excellence in Law and Leadership at Southwestern Law School, where he oversees innovative leadership programs designed to cultivate the next generation of legal professionals. Cody has a rich background in public service, having held key roles such as special assistant to the chief of staff in the city of Chicago's 8th Ward and assistant director of housing counseling at Open Communities. His work in these positions has involved deep engagement with community stakeholders, policy development, and strategic communication initiatives. In addition to his legal and administrative roles, Cody is also involved in launching a significant educational program in California that empowers underserved communities through strategic communication and leadership development. Thank you very much, Cody. Tell us something about yourself, and if you want, you can share your screen.
Thank you, Soren, for
Thank you.
that wonderful introduction. My name is Cody Morrison, and like all of you all, I am a former Southern Illinois University of Edwardsville graduate. Some of you all are in undergrad, some of you all are in grad school. I believe there may even be a few law students in the audience. So greetings to all of you all and congratulations on making it this far in your journey. And there is light at the end of the tunnel for sure. It does pay off. So please know that yeah, no matter how difficult it gets, it does pay off. Um, Recently moved to LA in November, graduated from law school in 2020 at the University of Illinois at Chicago School of Law. Graduated from law school. Well, when I entered law school, I wanted to focus on criminal defense. Throughout the 3 years in law school, I learned about probate, which is estates, trust, and wills, estate planning essentially. So upon graduation, I decided to work with community organizations to utilize the legal education I had to serve the community and had obtained information and learned new areas of law, such as probate, and seeing the benefit in merging the legal education with the community service to enhance intergenerational wealth, which of course will improve any community. So that is a brief background. I have two organizations, Academia Momenti, which is a youth academic enrichment initiative, which serves K through sixth graders. And then Pax Nexus is a consultant firm where I serve political leaders in Chicago as well as LA and educate communities throughout the nation on legacy planning. So actually, next month I will be in St. Louis in the area to have a discussion on legacy planning um, with the community in the Metro East to instill a program that I created called Thy Wills Be Done. And it's an initiative to work with churches and their communities to establish wills, trust, education, as well as living type of documents to make sure that transitional affairs are in order. Um, but I think that's enough of all of that. So
Okay.
I'll share my screen now.
Tell
So
us a little bit about the image behind you.
so this is I am the director of the Paris Academy for Excellence in Law and Leadership. Um, Rex Paris is the mayor of Lancaster and also the co-founder of Paris Law, which is a world-renowned um, personal injury firm in Lancaster. He is also the mayor of Lancaster, California. So look him up if you have a chance and learn more about him and the great work he's doing in Lancaster, California. Um, that program is an initiative. The program that I'm the director of is an initiative that Dean Dickerson and Mr. Paris collaborated with to provide more leadership initiatives at the school and professional development for law students. So I am a member of the dean's office, and this image that you see behind me is the dean's suite. So the law school is actually housed in the Bullock's Wilshire department store in the Koreatown neighborhood of Los Angeles, which is a historic area. This building was actually impacted. The first floor was almost completely destroyed during the Rodney King riots. The law school actually was not completely housed in this building. It was next door at the communications office. However, the engineers worked closely together and they were able to help save the remaining floors because there are only two elevators in this building that at that time would take you all the way up. So it is a pretty historical building. It's like working in a museum, if you will. It's interesting because it's very Art Deco and it's a structure built during Prohibition. So there are all sorts of interesting things to find and discover here, and uh, the beautiful terraces to kind of have lunch and get a break from work. So it's a really wonderful opportunity.
Okay. So now you can share your screen if you want.
Yes, sir. Okay. And I am normally not the person with the clicker, so for the sake of seamlessness, I'm going to leave it like this and kind of just go through it as best as possible. Thank you.
That's fine. That's fine.
All right. All right. So let me go back here. Um, Soren let me know that you all are examining legacy media and new media political communication practices,
Yes, we
which
can see that.
will always be relevant. No matter how advanced we get um, technologically, I personally believe that the legacy media will always have a place in our society as it is still one of our most credible resources. Okay. So, in a democratic system, political communication is vital in providing transparency, shaping voter opinions, and ensuring accountability. Historically, it has allowed voters to make informed decisions by conveying information on policies, elections, and government actions. Legacy media has a strong Legacy media has long been a gatekeeper of political information as seen in critical moments like the 1960 Nixon-Kennedy debate, if anybody here is old enough to know who Nixon and Kennedy are. Um, this debate was broadcasted on television. Kennedy had a very strong television presence, which helped him sway public opinion, um, which showcased the power of legacy media in shaping electoral outcomes. Journalists, editors, and producers oftentimes have the privy to filter information shared with the public. This oftentimes controls the narrative, um, but traditionally, gatekeepers such as journalists, editors, and producers of news outlets have ensured that the content meets the professional standards of accuracy and objectivity. So that is why my personal belief is that legacy media will remain in our society as a credible source of information. New media, which is what we and in my generation have ushered into our society. New media kind of bypasses the traditional gatekeepers, if you will, enabling individuals and citizens and organizations to reach larger audiences quickly without the need for a media institution. For example, the Arab Spring around 2010, 2011, when I was an undergrad at Southern Illinois, SIUE for short. Um, We saw the use of social media, particularly with Twitter and Facebook, to organize protests and share real-time updates globally, demonstrating the power of new media and facilitating direct political engagement and mobilization. Legacy media has historically shaped elections through televised debates, print editorials, and political ads. For example, the Nixon-Kennedy debate in 1960 exemplified how television influenced voter perception, as those who watched on TV favored Kennedy, as I mentioned previously, while radio listeners thought Nixon would win. Uh, Legacy media has a long-established trust for professional reporting. Um, TV and print media reach broad audiences, including older generations who still rely on these sources for information. However, with the rise of digital media, fewer people consume news via traditional channels, especially among younger audiences. Also, younger audiences tend to find more favor with media outlets where they can have more engagement with the media, such as with new media. New media. New media platforms allow for direct engagement between politicians and the public, for example. Barack Obama's 2008 campaign famously used social media to mobilize young voters. Um, you could hear it across all platforms of media, how he mobilized voters to create community through platforms like Facebook and Twitter, even in our uh, marketing ads and music, popular music. Social media allows for false information or misinformation, if you will, to spread rapidly, as seen during the 2016 US presidential election with the quote unquote fake news stories that went viral, influencing voter perception. New media has a tendency to create echo chambers um, due to the algorithms on platforms like Facebook. They tend to reinforce users' pre-existing beliefs to show them content that aligns with their views, reducing their exposure to diverse perspectives, which allows for a person to, in my opinion, reality check their their biases or their preconceived notions, the things that we are kind of instilled with from a young age. As I mentioned, the 2016 presidential election, social media platforms play pivotal roles in shaping the discourse, played pivotal roles in shaping the discourse around the 2016 election. Politicians like Donald Trump used Twitter extensively to communicate directly with voters, bypassing traditional media filters. Um, that was, in a sense, unprecedented. Uh, the former president, Barack Obama, could hardly eat a cheeseburger or play basketball without the legacy media zoomed in on him. However, former President Donald Trump took a different approach and bypassed the legacy media and went straight to the voters directly, communicating with them without the use of public relations teams or any sort of kind of media training, if you will. Um, his election used political campaigns, which used micro targeting through data analytics to send personalized messages to specific demographic groups, allowing for more effective voter engagement, but also raising concerns about transparency and manipulation, which was the fake news that spread rapidly. Okay, so my professional experience regarding legacy media during my time in Chicago as the special assistant to the chief of staff in the Eighth Ward, which is a southeast ward or neighborhood, if you will, in Chicago, which is made up of 77 neighborhoods now. Yes, we just added one more, so it's 77, I believe. We often relied on traditional media like press releases, which I had the joyous occasion of writing on many long nights, as well as preparing my aldermen for interviews and city council meetings where the press would be there. Um, we would use these traditional methods to communicate policy changes as well as engage with constituents. This would ensure that our message came from a credible outlet as well as reached a broad mainstream audience. In parallel, we also use social media platforms like Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn to interact directly with younger voters, providing real-time updates on community events, um, also policy initiatives. In Chicago, we have, and especially specifically in the Eighth Ward, we have a mixed constituent base of older and younger citizens. And our younger citizens are more likely to scroll on social media where our older population may have difficulty going online to use the newsletter or going online to download the most recent updates. So we try to put things on all platforms as well as traditional news and have press releases and send out community newsletters so we can reach the entire spectrum. The evolution of political campaigns. Um, Televised debates, editorial endorsements, and political ads on TV still play an important role in shaping narratives of major political campaigns. With new media, social media, and other digital platforms are increasingly dominant, especially among younger voters, due to their interactive nature and ability to provide immediate information. For example, Alexandria, and forgive me, Ocasio-Cortez, I hope I pronounced that correctly, effectively used social media to engage directly with her constituents and public using platforms like Instagram to explain policy in real time. Oftentimes, constituents come from diverse backgrounds. They have different levels of education, different interpretations and understandings of the information that they receive. And with social media, one of the pros of social media, if you will, allow political leaders and community leaders to explain things in layman's terms and common language, if you will. Um, you can say a lot in 7 words. The ethical implications. Again, can't stress enough that misinformation it's rampant right now. New media opens New media's openness allows for the spread of unverified and false information, often without accountability. Um, the viral nature of social media in itself can amplify these falsehoods before they are corrected. We hear every day how um, something has happened with a popular figure, a public figure, or or a politician, if you will, and they have to kind of explain the context of that snippet we get. So social media has given a lot of 30-second snips of false information that have created um, days or weeks, if you will, of follow up for that. Um, Manipulation of public opinion is also one of the ethical implications because targeted political ads as seen in 2016 raised concerns about how data analytics can be used to manipulate voter behavior without transparency. I don't know if it's still a requirement, but SPSS, quantitative analysis, was absolutely one of my favorite courses in grad school, and I didn't think it would be because it's like SPSS, quantitative analysis. Like, what is that? But it taught us so much about how to use the data, how to collect it, how to interpret it. Numbers don't lie, but people do. And when you can understand the numbers, you can give information without context that is not necessarily a lie, but it is incorrect, misinformation. Um, but media, both legacy and new media, have a responsibility to provide accurate information and ensure that the public can make informed decisions. So the silver lining in the 2016 election is the policy implementation and the regulation of social media platforms um, to kind of curtail that misinformation, if you will. So legacy media, while its influence is declining, it still plays an important role in shaping public opinion, especially among older demographics who still have majority of the influence in our society. New media, however, offers powerful tools for real-time engagement and grassroots mobilization, but it also presents challenges like misinformation, fake news. What I see is a hybrid future where the most successful political communication strategies will likely blend both legacy and new media, ensuring a broad reach while maintaining accuracy as well as interactivity. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And I'm glad that actually in your PowerPoint presentation, you're using some terms that we already have been using in our classes from the chapters of the two books that I selected. And actually, my interest is in giving them a flavor of political communication in the United States through one of the books, and through the other, some case studies and examples from Europe and other countries. And I mean, countries in other continents. Yeah, I think your information is rendered even more interesting by the fact that you are talking about practicality, what you have been through when you were in the Eighth Ward in Chicago, and what you've been doing also in LA. I forgot to mention that actually in 2012, when I was organizing my last study abroad experience with international public relations and PR visual communication courses in my department, Applied Communication Studies. You were one of the 10 and the only Papa student who joined our group. And I think we had a blast and a lot of practical experiences, especially in Germany with that festival. And I think that gave you the opportunity to interact with people in international settings. Okay, thank you very, very much for your presentation. I would like to invite the students. Let me share with you, all of you, that I shared the list of questions that I centralized last night. 10 out of the 13 students contributed questions. Are you ready for some questions, Cody?
Absolutely. And if I could, before we engage in the questions,
Yes.
I want to give some back end context to the study abroad. So I was actually in the PAPA program, and this study abroad was being offered through the communications program, correct?
Yes. Yes.
So I had to actually write a defense, if you will, to advocate for the integration or the acceptance of that program meeting the requirements for the PAPA program. And the approach that I took was, instead of making it about how it would benefit me, how the two programs, how it was necessary, how this program was lacking, this program had the opportunity to meet a need, and the benefit between the two programs and how it could amplify the education for PAPA graduate students. So I think that that was some of my very early policy influencing, if you will.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't know this detail, but I know that many departments, you see, for example, at SIUE, we have two departments of communication, mass communications and applied communication studies, the former speech communication. And we are told sometimes, especially by external funders, that we are a little bit too siloed, that we like to exist in disregard and lack of collaboration with other departments within the College of Arts and Sciences, which is not so good. Well, hopefully in the future we'll modernize more. But
Absolutely.
I'm glad that you were able at the time to convince the leadership of PAPA. By the way, the acronym comes from Public Administration and Policy Analysis, right?
Yes.
And it has only a master degree level. It doesn't have undergraduates.
Yes, a master's of public administration and policy analysis.
Yes.
Political science, I believe, is the comparable for undergrad.
Yes, yes. There is a department of political studies, and they don't have a master degree. Right. Okay. So let's open it for questions. You know what questions you asked. See if, in the light of the presentation today, your questions are still relevant, or maybe some of the things that you asked in the questionnaire, in the list of questions, you are already answered, maybe. So, who wants to ask a question? Please raise your hand or unmute your microphone. Yes, I see Liliana.
Hold on. I wrote it down. Okay. So you were saying at the end of your presentation that we can expect kind of an intermingling of legacy media and new media. What I've noticed personally with discussing like politics with people in my generation is that there's almost a mistrust of legacy media due to
Absolutely.
how much misinformation is spread at such a rapid rate through new media. So through like your experience with your occupation, what do you think can be done to kind of circle back and refoster that trust in legacy media for younger generations?
That is a really great question. I think that in order to refoster trust in any institution, there needs to be some transparency. There needs to be open communication and some accountability. I think that we have these traditional gatekeepers, and I know a lot of you all are stepping into roles and positions where your superiors are sometimes out of touch with current societal norms and understandings of things. So um, political influencers are 100% on top of this. Communication influencers, such as legacy media outlets, are finding that it is more advantageous to collaborate with new media outlets because they have what new media does not. We are living in a corporate merger society, and I think that we are going to see more people from a younger generation stepping into positions of power and influence to provide that diversity because like Soren mentioned, it is traditionally best practice to silo information across the board, whether you're in bureaucracy, education, politics, religion, community advocacy, healthcare, you name it. Everybody wants to silo information for whatever their reasons are, and we are at an age now where information is so critical and essential, real-time information, that gatekeepers are being forced to adjust. And I think that we're going to see, especially during this election and the many to come, more accuracy, more transparency, which is going to, through time, establish that trust back with us.
If I can add something here, actually, you see, I was also interested in this phenomenon of legacy media versus social media, new media. And I remember, 10, 15 years ago when they were starting to use Facebook, for example, I saw discussions between people working for Time magazine, for example. They were advising each other, hey, if you are feeling like menaced a little bit by social media, you in parallel with your activities at Time Magazine, build your own Facebook account and counter that. The problem is that, this myth of the, citizen journalist that has access to technology and has an opinion and can disrupt something doesn't really work for individuals. Only when they raise at the level of a group and they can sway some, have some cloth and some weight to whatever they say. Social media has its own role, and especially for Twitter, or former Twitter, actual X. Um, we all remember, the Arab Spring. Those people in Tahrir Square in Egypt were organizing each other through Twitter, but they weren't using it more than that. They were just placing locations. Let's meet in that square and in that corner of the street, and it was working very fast, bypassing control of the police, bypassing the influence of legacy media, and so on and so forth, because those were controlled by the government. So it works in certain situations, but now they have to work together. And legacy media still has a lot of impact because it looks more groomed, and new media
It's more
has
established.
exactly, and it was pushed back. The social media and new media has been pushed back by the fact that there are so many people who just delve into false information or disinformation. Then we
Absolutely.
don't know who to trust. Legacy media brings sometimes a shadow of a trust. Okay, let's move on to the next question.
I have a question.
Yes.
How do you think new media will evolve in this election this year?
Hmm. I think we kind of already see how it's evolved with the lack of rhetoric from um, former President Trump through the various media platforms that he explored in his previous election. So through those policy implementations and regulations on social media, we have already seen the change in this election.
Yeah, by the way, a link to this, there's this discussion that Facebook and Twitter, at the pressure of the government, cut the access of Trump to Twitter and to Facebook. So he moved on different other um, social media locations, but they don't have the same coverage. So, should this be argued? It's the right of every person to express a thought. Um, Others say, well, delving into disinformation and misinformation and attacks and asking people to act negatively is not freedom of speech, especially when you can influence really in real time groups of people.
Absolutely. And like Soren mentioned, it's uh, former President Trump was not a layperson or a common person, a regular citizen who hopped on social media to express his opinion. He was a highly recognized influencer, a public opinion influencer, if you will, who was running for a political position. And he was not as the old adage goes, one man walking down the street pumping their fist up is a crazy man, but the same individual with 100 people behind him, he's a revolutionary. And I think that former President Trump used his influence to revolutionize his opinion on a grand scale.
Well, let me play the devil's advocate here. And, after the debate a few days ago, we had Taylor Swift at the end of the day saying that she is on the side of Kamala Harris and she will vote with her. Should she be, stopped from having access to Facebook because she's followed by 230 million people because she's, influencing elections?
Indeed, I think that that social media post was highly influential, and it's not hidden information or hidden knowledge that uh, the Republican National Convention as well as the Democratic National Convention utilize their resources to subcontract celebrities all the time to help promote their agenda. And I think that these individuals who get approached by the political influencers have found that very advantageous and oftentimes in alignment with their political views. So, um, as a private citizen, but also a public figure, it's well within the right of freedom of speech to support your public opinion.
Right, right. And she's not asking people to act against minorities. She's just
Right.
telling them, hey, I will vote with Kamala Harris. Follow me if you want.
Her personal opinion.
Yes, yes. Okay. Other questions? You know what questions you asked. I have the list here. If you want me, I can ask your questions.
I also got the list of questions last night and tried to prepare as best as possible. So if you'd
Okay.
like me to just
Yeah.
answer your question, please just let me know. Okay. Well, I had one question here. I won't say anyone's name. Um, it's regarding law students. How can law students become more involved in community-centered legal work while still in school? I thought that was a very fascinating question because I have been highly involved in community-centered work, which always is legally adjacent and politically adjacent. Um, I think since I graduated from high school, my freshman year, I went to the University of Iowa. I graduated in 2008 from high school. So that was during the former President Obama election. In Iowa, as you all know, was the caucus, so it was a big to do at that time there. And then coming to transferring in my sophomore year to Southern Illinois, because I was actually a pharmacy student. And there was only two pharmacy schools that I knew about in Illinois, and I didn't want to stay in Chicago. So a friend told me, hey, there's a school in Edwardsville, Illinois that has a pharmacy program. And I was like, where is that at? And went down to the school and fell in love with the campus. And if you all don't know, still today, SIUE has the largest acreage, one of the largest acreages amongst the nation for universities. And that school um, gave me so many opportunities to interact politically and get engaged socially and within community. Um, while in grad school, I served as um, while in undergrad, I worked on a campaign for, I believe she's still the Madison County reporter, Amy Meyer, and helped her with her very first election to run for Madison County reporter. While in grad school, I returned back to Southern Illinois in Edwardsville for the PAPA program, and I was offered a position with the community development department of the city of O'Fallon. And I had the pleasure of taking on a new role, which was in contrast to the mayor at that time's uh, kind of ideology. He himself, being a businessman, wanted to keep business and government separate. But there was such a need with the robust business community of the O'Fallon Shiloh area that the city essentially was not doing that community a service by not providing them with the outlet that they needed to express their concerns. So um, I created the business retention and expansion program for the city of O'Fallon while in grad school, which is a 10-year plus program still current today, which allows businesses within those communities to have direct engagement with city services through the chambers of commerce. So it was a way to serve a different type of community, right? Businesses are people legally, so they have rights and they have needs within communities that they pay taxes to and provide services for. And oftentimes they are kind of shied away because they are a business. And that gave me an opportunity to serve a different community and utilize my skills in different ways uh, to serve that community. Um,
It's
and while
interesting.
in,
It's
I'm sorry.
interesting. Interesting that you are mentioning this. But one of the groups of my students in PR campaigns class, their capstone experience in public relations, is working this year, this semester and next semester, with a representative of Madison County. They are trying to implement the model of Urbana-Champaign. It's called the Shambana, in which they were trying to make the connection between their university and local authorities to retain people who are fresh graduates in their communities or young families coming from different states, to find solutions for them to help them establish themselves and increase the population.
It is highly important.
Yeah.
The city of Long Beach has an initiative like that where they are actually helping new families who work in the city of Long Beach to they're providing some sort of a grant assistance, if you will, to purchase a home in the community, because that diversity, that enrichment, the education, it does add to the wealth of the community. But also while in law students can get engaged through so many opportunities, such as legal clinics at the law school, as well as a law student, you kind of have this secret superpower. You know that you really don't know anything, but people know that you're really smart and they want your knowledge. They want you to come solve a problem for them for free because you are not licensed or degreed. So, as a law student, I found it more advantageous to always find ways to make myself useful. How can I help? Especially if it was something I already had an interest in, I probably already had an idea of how to solve that problem. So coming to the table with solutions instead of uh, with your handout, if you will, is always a way for any student at any level to get involved with the community. Because these, when I moved to California, I kind of fled a political career, if you will, in Illinois. A position with the office of the Speaker of the House and um, another position. And when I got out here, I got an offer from the Inspector General's office in Virginia over the Department of Defense. So that's, all the military and all the FBI and all the things, right, that fall under the Department of Defense. And I had to turn that down because I didn't feel like um the skill set that I had acquired would be advantageous to the community in that way. It would be very advantageous to my personal career and things of that nature. But that's not what it was about for me throughout the journey. So I had to turn that down and stay in California and kind of figure it out, which is a nice segue because one question was about the educational program that I started out here. So before I went to law school in 2016, before I went to law school in 2017, during 2016 school year, I was a teacher's assistant at a Chicago public school on the west side. And I have a very strong appreciation for CPS now after seeing other public school systems. Um, Southern Illinois has a very fine public education system. I think it's because it's a smaller population to serve. Um, However, coming from a large city like Chicago, there were just certain norms that I was accustomed to. And coming to California in 2023, I I worked in the Long Beach Unified School District as well as the LA Unified School District and Placenta Valley, Rancho, um, all the counties of Southern Illinois, of Southern California, if you will, um, in their schools, working with K through 6, and then the middle schoolers as well as high schoolers, and they're across the board, whether you're in Orange County or in LA County. You could be in a very high median household income community and a very low median household income community. These schools still suffer from the same issues. There are there are more resources thrown at the schools here with more poverty-stricken issues, but they're not getting to the core of the problem because they're not getting to the core of the student. We have these quantitative issues, if you will. The data, the numbers show these are our problems. However, the students are not quantitative, they're qualitative individuals. They have personalities, they have uh, uh, backgrounds and at-home experiences that impact them on a daily basis. And working with students, I kind of got thrown into the program as a cog in a machine. You work with these students on these issues, Good luck. And working with the students, I had one group of students, one third grader in particularly, could not do the second grade math because he could not read on a first grade level. Um, I quickly notified my superior of this observation, and she pulled me to the side and let me know that this is kind of how it goes. We have a term for these type of students, and I'm expressing kind of my discontent, my disfavor with this. And she lets me know that, well, there's really not much we can do because if his primary teacher now reports it, then she's going to be responsible for his deficiencies. Um, so she doesn't have to go through the auditing process or the scrutiny, if you will. Let me just pass him or her along, and hopefully they get it next semester. They get it next school year. And we all know that that's not the case. So I had to quickly leave the public school system in California because I seen what the need was. I seen what the students wanted, but I also seen what they needed. They want attention. They want somebody to listen to them, but they need emotional intelligence skills. They need to understand the value and the importance of STEM. They need to understand how to self-advocate in a non-combative manner. They need to understand how the world works and why they need to get it now because the teacher's going to get paid regardless. And they're going to go home, and more than likely, their parent is not going to be in a position or have the time to assist them. And at some point, we have to break that. We have to break that cycle. And I empowered them through this program to take charge and accountability by providing the tools that they need to be successful at a young age. So I think that a first grader who has perhaps an IEP, perhaps does come from an impoverished background, does have some other variables that impact them. If they understand the importance of mannerisms and politeness, and they are taught the skills to express the issues that they're experiencing, I think that they'll sit in class a little more attentive, and we'll have the numbers to prove that. So
Okay, it seems to me that looking at the backgrounds of some of the students that they are in public spaces, so maybe that's why they are not verbalizing their questions. So if they are not raising their hand, let's go down the list.
okay. So what was the most rewarding or frustrating? Let me see if this okay. What was the oh, I actually just answered that student's question with the educational program, so we'll move down. How does your experience in public service influence your approach to leadership development and legal education? So, public service actually taught me the importance of community engagement and equity leadership. There is a difference between equality and equity, and that's what the law really focuses on. Everybody does not need the same recourse. So we have to focus more on what the individual situation calls for, which is but have the same parameter of getting there. That is equity. And I strive to instill these values in the students that I mentor, ensuring that they understand the importance of using their legal expertise to serve the public good. Um, I just recently had a group of students who listed all sorts of reasons why they wanted to come to law school, and a lot of them were for financial stability and um, money, power, respect, if you will. It's a learned profession. Everybody, be a doctor, be a lawyer, things of that nature. But being a lawyer is an opportunity for you to use your education and your skill set to serve the greater good. And when you are serving the greater good, some of the side effects of that are money, respect, influence, which we can kind of use the word power to supplement, but it should never be about that because when those are your influences, you are easily corruptible. So, um, I'll leave that there. Let's see. Answered that. Okay. What are the most important leadership qualities you look for in lawyers: integrity, empathy, resilience. Um, integrity is being the same person off camera, on camera. Integrity is speaking to the custodial engineer the same way you speak to the president and dean. Uh, greeting the defense attorney the same way as you greet your honor. Um, the client that you have accepted as a pro bono case, as well as the client who is paying you an exorbitant retainer. Um, there should be no difference within yourself. And one thing that I noticed that I had to really take accountability for when I moved to LA was, Cody, you can't let this place change who you are, because I don't know if all of you all are from the Midwest, but I am a Midwesterner through and through, and I am proud of it. And being on the West Coast is a completely different world, and we have different values, we have different challenges. There are also different benefits, and I think that I had to really hone in to who I was at my core, to not kind of be influenced one way or the other in a new environment. So I think that is the integrity piece, and then empathy. Um, Another thing that I have recently learned, and I'm 34, so you all have a general context. I graduated from undergrad at 21, and I graduated from undergrad 21, grad school around 24, and law school at 30. And it has been a roller coaster, if you will. Wow, I can't believe it's been 12 years since I graduated from undergrad, and it has not been a fun ride, but it has been a ride. And there are some good times, some bad times, right? Um, but the important thing is that I'm still on the ride. And I stress this to my son. I'm also a father. I got divorced my first year of law school. I actually lost my mom the year before I went to law school. My wife, my then wife, and son moved from Edwardsville. We were actually staying in Collinsville. We both graduated. She was attending McKendree, getting her master's in education, and she's like a tenured teacher now, special education. And I was in grad school in the PAPR program, and she wanted to move back to Chicago. I didn't, but happy wife, happy life. So I went back to Chicago. 7 days later, my mom passed away, which kind of like turned my entire world upside down. Um, and at that time, we were working on Cody going to law school. So I kind of kept that as my carrot, if you will, to kind of keep me on the ride. And after 21, you are age of majority, and age of majority things, if not have already occurred, will start to occur. And you have to stay focused on what your wants are in life, and learn how to quickly detach from the things that are not a part of your want. If you want a successful career and that's it, then you have to do the things to obtain a successful career. Um, your health, your peace, your happiness, those are things, necessary accoutrements, if you will, to a successful career. So you have to do the things and learn the things to make that possible. Empathy, some people are born with it, and some people are humbled into it. I'll let you figure out where I fall in that. Um, okay. Okay. So what strategic communication initiatives have you found most effective? Oh, did I touch that last piece? Empathy, integrity, empathy, and um,
Yes, we
inclusivity.
right.
Yes, every day, you should interact with people outside of your norm. We all come from communities, we all come from towns, cities, some of them smaller, more diverse than others. It is your responsibility as a human being to interact with people who don't think like you, who don't look like you, who don't come from the place that you come from. The world, through new media, is growing smaller. Um, Your peers and colleagues at SIUE are not your competition. Please remember that. Your peers and colleagues at SIUE are not your competition. This is your network. I am a member of your network. You don't have to compete against me. I don't have to compete against you because we're all Cougars. And at the end of the day, we're going to look out for each other. And that's the mentality that we have to have moving forward in our careers. We compete on a global scale now. We compete with other countries at a higher rate than we ever have before. And there's really not much that legacy media or new media can do to stop that. So we have to take it upon ourselves to make ourselves the most valuable players for the home team. And the home team looks different. Look at this 3, 6, 9, 12. You got 12 different people up here from 12 different backgrounds, 12 different skill sets to add value to the greater good. Imagine if we were on here with biases at the forefront. This would be a really poor conversation. So
Cody, do I sense that from how you are speaking, do I sense that along your journey through life, you were helped here and there by your faith?
absolutely. 100%. I think that more so now than ever, my faith it keeps me grounded, it keeps me going. I think that it keeps me safe. I'm in a foreign territory essentially. I've never lived in LA, but I have had the privilege of living abroad and studying abroad. I highly recommend that you all study abroad. If you have not already, or if you have not traveled with family or friends uh, off the continent of North America, I highly advise that because it is going to blow your mind. Um, faith is highly important. One way or the other, you have to understand that you are not the center of the universe. The world does not revolve around you. It does not matter what your parents told you or what your community has kind of reared you to believe. Even if you're the star quarterback, even if you are the number one student with the highest GPA, that is a terrific attribute. However, you play a part in the greater good. So I think faith helps keep me focused on that. um, Also, to get back to the study abroad piece, undergrad studied abroad with Dr. Denise DeGarmo. Love her dearly. If you know her, please tell her I said hi. Um, we were a part of her inaugural study abroad program where we went to Dublin, Belfast, and Derry, or New Derry, depending on what side of the pendulum you swing. Um, and it was a life-changing experience. The embrace and the welcomeness that I received from the Irish people was so refreshing and honoring to say the least. It showed me that we are really all the same people. Um, which kind of sparked my interest to study abroad again in grad school, which is how I met Professor Nastasia. Um, which was a wonderful experience, as he mentioned. And then when I went to law school, I made sure to take advantage of that opportunity again. And to show you how faith works and how things go full circle, I attended law school at the John Marshall Law School in Chicago um, in 2017. In 2018, we received a new dean by the name of Dean Dickerson, um, who came in and literally whipped that school into shape. And we actually became the first public law school in the city of Chicago. So when I graduated in 2020, before I get there, in 2018, I had the privilege of studying abroad in London with gaining reciprocity through Southwestern Law School in LA. Fast forward, graduate from law school in 2020 as the first spring graduating class of the University of Illinois at Chicago School of Law. Thanks to Dean Dickerson's leadership and vision, we were able to meet the requirements to become a public law school, which provided more opportunities for the students, of course. Um, Fast forward, moved to LA, new environment. I have to use my network. Who do I know in LA? And can I get lunch with them? Can I get coffee? Can I get tea? Can I get some sort of FaceTime with you to let you know I'm here, this is what I'm interested in, and how can I be of service to you. Um, me and Dean Dickerson had lunch a few times, and on one of our third lunches, she let me know that I have a position that I think there's something you might be interested in, and I'm like, no way, are you serious? Like, which was an honor because I no longer really wanted to practice law or work in government because I seen that there was such a need to work directly with our future leaders, and I think faith played a role in me leaving my mom's house in 2008, having this whirlwind of experiences and landing here today to speak with undergraduate students and graduate students as well as law students and share my experience with them all. So this has been a truly honorable and humbling experience, and Soren, I can't thank you enough for this.
Yeah, no. It's very, very interesting, very informative. If you will, can we go down the list for another question?
Yes, sir.
We have just a few more minutes.
Okay. Oh, here's a good one. I love this question. Um, how do you lead different political parties despite differences in the group? Love that question. I think approaching these situations by emphasizing common goals and shared values is the best approach when dealing with the differences of political opinion, religious opinion, familial opinion. We're people and we're gonna have differences. So understanding what that common goal is and those shared values, right? Like we're all Cougars, go Cougars. That's a shared value. And the more the more you engage with the communities around you, the more shared values you have. Um, the more you grow as a person, the more common goals you realize you have with people in Budapest, Hungary, or or in München, Germany, for that matter. Um, it's a awesome opportunity to grow. Never look at challenges as moments of fear-inducing moments. Look at challenges as opportunities for you to improve yourself because that's practice. As a professional, every day you have to do something challenging, and the more comfortable you get with being uncomfortable, I think that that improves your approach in any group setting. Um, but I find that focusing on what unites us, whether it be a better future for the community, or finding solutions to common problems, helps bridge that gap. Um, I I would consider myself a proverbial bridge, if you will. I have been strategically placed to um to bridge the gap of uh, underprivileged communities to educational resources, to students, to practical experience, um, all sorts of different communities and groups of people. I have had the fortune and the honor to be able to help these to mediate and facilitate, if you will, these interactions and mergers. So I think that just understanding the commonalities that everybody has, it plays an extremely beneficial role in dealing with differences in groups. Let's see here. I think we've got one more. Okay. What role do you think political communication plays in law practice? We'll close on that one. um, Political communication is critical in law practice because lawyers often act as advocates in courtrooms and public spaces, whether addressing public policy, speaking to the media, or influencing public opinion on legal matters. The ability to effectively communicate complex legal concepts in a way that resonates with the different audiences is key. You 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 must learn how to communicate effectively. Um, Communication is key in this life. And if you can take your complex ideas or your misunderstandings and have a vulnerability about yourself and expressing that, I think that that enhances the communication. um, letting the individual or the audience, excuse me, know that what's coming next might not be favorable, but these are the facts. Um, these facts do not represent my opinion or belief. Um, Oftentimes, lawyers have to represent clients that they don't share their viewpoint or their belief system, and you have to still zealously advocate for that individual. Um, the entire gambit. My work in the state's attorney's office in the city of Markham, Illinois, I worked on felony trial, and I seen the entire gambit, and I seen public defenders cry because they had to represent an individual who had committed an atrocity, had no remorse, and essentially was unapologetic, almost proud of that crime, and they still had to represent them through the process. So
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that communication is very important in life.
it is.
You
It
know,
is.
we teach our students in communication classes that we create soft skills for life. This is almost like a layer that is superimposed on the practical skills that you acquire through an education in becoming an engineer, becoming an accountant, becoming a businessman, a nurse, and this and that. But always in life, you will need this superimposed layer of soft skills in communication, because otherwise the people in front of you do not understand you entirely, and they can't even attempt. Plus, there's an important skill of speaking in public and interpersonally, but also you have to develop the skill of listening. To take a pause from time to time from talking and allowing, especially in your job, as a lawyer, you have to really understand what was behind a deed, an act of a person, because everybody is influenced by their family, their culture, their religion, their beliefs, and how they had to, make a living for themselves through maybe perilous journeys sometimes.
Yeah, there's actually a an argument right now in many legal spaces of this notion of free will. Are we acting out of free will, or do we have a preset response based off of our DNA and background and home settings and things of that nature?
That is a determinism.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Well, if we do not have any other questions, I'll give you a moment. Any student, if you still have any questions, put your hand up or unmute your microphone. Okay, I think we answered a lot of questions. I want to thank again our guest today, Cody Morrison, and I'm very, very glad that we were able to meet again after 10 years from going to Germany and Hungary.
Yes, sir.
And I'm glad that earlier you mentioned the people of Hungary, not the president of Hungary, Mr. Orban, that is quoted by many people in this country as being a good example for Europe. I'm from Romania that borders Hungary, and I could tell you many stories. Anyhow, thank
Oh,
you.
Soren,
Yes,
the
yes,
I
yes.
think it was Christoph, the individual that we met with in the mayor's office when we were in
Okay.
Budapest. Him and I are still in contact today.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. That is interesting.
It's the
Yes.
power of your network. So
I used the services of the other guy. I don't remember his name now, but remember that we were going to a PR firm
mhm,
to do practical exercises, and the head of PR firm was now a coordinator of an international group of public relations firms. And during COVID, I used him to invite him and some people involved in businesses to talk to my students in public relations courses.
that's awesome. Do
So,
you all still visit the BMW headquarters when in München?
well, since 2014, I wasn't able to make another group.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, hopefully that can change soon.
I'll see. Well, our students in international studies program, where I'm the director in the College of Arts and Sciences, that can be taken only as a major, have an obligation to study abroad for at least 6 credits.
That is
So
wonderful.
3 or 4 students in this group are from the international studies program.
Awesome. Awesome. I love that.
And we have a foreign student, actually more foreign students. We have Ines Chakir, who came from France just for a semester as an exchange student. We have,
Bonjour.
one of our, yes, David Garcia is originally from Mexico. Andrew Doncor is from Ghana.
Hola.
Noor Thabet is from Palestine.
Wonderful.
By Muhammad Baltayev is from Turkmenistan. So we are, and Professor Anastasia is from Romania.
Yes.
Okay. Well, again, thank you very much. This was a wonderful discussion. And
Yes.
as I said, I will save this recording and I will put it on my YouTube channel and share the link with the students and with you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all for being here today. It was a true pleasure.
Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.